created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining for another Parlons. Today we have not that often or well-known opera by Maestro Puccini. Of course, we are talking about Manon, Lescaut, mi chiamo. That very beautiful phrase, the name of Manon Lescaut. That before I forget, not many people know, but this creation by Maestro Puccini was later to the creation of Jules Massenet. La Manon by Jules Massenet is composed before Puccini's. And if you're aware, Massenet's Manon, it only takes the name of Manon, while Manon Lescaut, while talking with the complete name of hers, it is Puccini's. There was some reluctance by Ricordi of having Puccini write around a topic that had already been taken to the opera and with a good success. So why risking of being compared to Massenet's, and Puccini would simply go ahead and say, well, Massenet is a sophisticated French woman, Manon Lescaut, while my Manon Lescaut is going to be an Italian woman with all the energy and passion that we Italians have. And if you have seen both operas, even though the two of them are based on the same work by Abate Prévost, they are very different. The tesituras are so different. The color of the voices, the composition, the richness. Of course, we are talking about two different composers, and this is how it ends up when you have two geniuses working on the same subject. Okay, so and before we forget, it is important to invite you to write an email to operawheelofsinging@gmail.com, where you can reach me, you can reach Katia, either the two of us, for any particular message that you would like to send, or of course I keep inviting you to share with us what is it that opera has brought to your life. Maybe in the future we can, if we have the chance, because it's very difficult given the very tight agenda of Katya's. Hopefully we can have her in the near future if we have enough questions from you, so that we can maybe, besides singing, can have a conversation around more this of what opera and music means to each of us. Well, if as we are not certain on when that will happen, let's go back to Manon Lescaut, mi chiamo. I was telling you that even though it is a very nice opera written by Maestro Puccini, it is not as famous as La Bohème or Madame Butterfly. And once again, we have to mention what we have mentioned in the past. It has to do with the vocal requirements for each of the two main characters. In one hand, we have Chevalier Lheureux, excuse me, that is the name of Le Chevalier, most of the times referred as Chevalier de Rieux, and very few times known as Renato de Rieux. That would be for the tenor, and as for, of course, the female star of the opera, Manon Lescaut herself, a soprano, both of them need to be either very heavy lyric tenors and soprano, or more likely to be spintos. Dramatic would be a little too much, because it would sound like Otello and Turandot singing, so better if only spinto voices. And there are some examples of the very great voices that have sung this opera. Very difficult to have two great voices. The orchestration is heavy. Singing the complete Manon Lescaut is not simple, as you will notice ahead. Of course, we have Renata Tebaldi and Mario del Monaco, two Pinto. Well, del Monaco's more dramatic voice, but very powerful and exquisite for the Italian repertory. And well, what can we say about Renata Tebaldi, one of the greatest sopranos ever been on stage, with one of the most beautiful voices. Many people refer to Renata's voice as a voice of an angel with a Spinto voice, we have to mention, but still an angel voice. They have recordings of this opera, which is great if you happen to have the chance of listening to it. Of course, we also have a recording. I'm not sure if of the complete opera, but at least of the duet that we will talk about a little ahead. The Tu Amore Tu between Callas and Di Stefano. Of course, if you are in the world of opera, you know that having Callas and Di Stefano singing such a repertory from Puccini is guaranteed quality. We will also talk a little more about it. But let's now get into the details of the plot. Was telling you, based on a work by the Abbé Prévost, Puccini happens to decide he would like to take this Manon Lescaut for him and writing an opera over it. I will not give you so many details, but in the first act is when it happens that Le Chevalier de Rieux, Renato de Rieux, meets Manon. And that is exactly when Manon replies, Manon Lescaut mi chiamo, which in return de Rieux will take for himself in the first aria, still very short aria, that we have at the almost, well, if not at the very beginning, at least the first aria, the important aria that is sung in Manon Lescaut by the tenor, that we call Donna non vidi mai. This Donna non vidi mai, the two of them still being very young, we can read this as the feeling that a young man can have for, if not the first love, what he believes is going to be the love of his life. I have never seen such a woman. He falls in love for Manon immediately. So that's why he says this, Donna non vidi mai, simile a questa, a dirle io t'amo, a nuova vita l'alma mia si desta. Manon Lescaut mi chiamo. For the first time he repeats it like, in a dream, enchanted, charmed by the voice of Manon. That's when he says, Manon Lescaut mi chiamo, repeating, my name is Manon Lescaut. Come queste parole profumate mi vaga nello spirito e a scosse fibre vanno a carezzare. It is not the first time in the world of opera that we listen to one of the lovers saying that he is enchanted by the love or the name of the other one. Of course, you can be brought to a very well-known example, the Waltier Malde, if you recall that aria by Gilda in the very famous composition by Maestro Verdi, Rigoletto. Il Conte has given the false name to Gilda and she keeps it for her heart. That aria, Caro Nome, is around the name of Waltier Malde. In this case, we have Manon, Lescaut, mi chiamo. So he insists that this name, queste parole profumate, this perfume of those words, that's a comparison he makes around the name of Manon Lescaut, mi vaga nello sospiro e ascose fibre vanno a carezzare. Oh sussurro gentil, that name, Manon Lescaut, is a whisper, a gentle whisper. De non cessare. Please don't stop, please don't stop. Oh sussurro gentil, de non cessare, de non cessare. This repetition, how the melody goes up and then goes to pianissimo back again, really gives us an idea of how charmed, if you wish, how out of the reality is Le Chevalier des Rieux by the name of Manon Lescaut. But now he insists on the name, but instead of doing it pianissimo like before, when he was saying Manon Lescaut mi chiamo, he goes for the second time, but he goes forte this time. And even the partitura, the score says con anima. Manon Lescaut mi chiamo. He insists, sussurro gentil de non cessar, de non cessar, de non cessar. And that's how this very short aria ends. It's all around the name of Manon Lescaut. The two of them have met. They have found that Géronte de Ravoir, an old man who wants to take Manon Lescaut captive, of course also impressed by the beauty of Manon, he wants to take it for himself. So they will abduct her, but the brother of Manon Lescaut finds out, Lescaut is the brother, by the way, and by talking sharing this with the Rieux decides to approach Manon, and this is how the two of them end as fugitives running away from Geronte and making their lives somewhere else. That's in very simple words, how the first act of Manon Lescaut is the topic or the plot is about. As we move to the second act, and this is very interesting, in Manon, sorry if I make too many reference to the composition by Maestro Massenet. In Massenet's Manon Lescaut, there is a very beautiful duet called Nous vivrons à Paris, because when they decide to run away from that place, they decide to go to live to Paris. That's why that duet is Nous vivrons à Paris. A very, very beautiful duet. That is not the case in Puccini's. He does not have such a duet. And there is another very important thing, a particularity around Maestro Puccini's compositions or thoughts on this opera. He does not give not even a single note on stage on the times Manon Lescaut and Chevalier des Rieux lived together. By the time on the second act, she's already back to the man who was supposed to abduct her. She is back to Géronte, and I think this needs to be explained. Even if Puccini decides not to tell us this part of the story, the true thing is that the two of them, des Rieux and Manon, lived together and they were happy, but they were poor. And this is very important because Manon Lescaut, from the very beginning, is described as a superfluous, a shallow, ambitious woman. I would like to stop here for a second for a very interesting reason. From my perspective, this is the very first time that Maestro Puccini gives us a heroine. He has given us Tosca, Liu, Turandot, Mimi, Cho-Cho-san, but all of them can be described for the most part in a single color. They are mini, I was thinking of mini also in La Fanciulla del West. They are pictured as noble, great women who love, who are passionate, as in Tosca, or who have very simple lives, such as Mimi, or who are very brave, such as Mini in La Fanciulla del West, or who are cruel in Turandot. So Maestro Puccini pictures their heroines in either black or white. But for the case of Manon Lescaut is on a scale of grace that she's not completely pure, such as Liu, and she's not completely evil, as Turandot. She's somewhere in between, and that makes her more human, more believable, because even though she falls in love and runs away with Derieux, the truth is that even though she feels she loves him, she doesn't want to be poor. She wants to have money, and she knows that the old Geronte, the old man who was to abduct her, is rich. So she leaves Derieux to pursue the richness of Geronte. She has sacrificed true love for the pursuit of vanity and money. Manon Lescaut is not in white, she's not pure. She decides to sacrifice the true love for material purposes. That's how Act 2 is about. And for a second, she regrets having left Derieux. She shares this with us in a very well-known, also very short aria called In quelle trine morbide, a very intimate aria by Manon, where she is in her bedroom and she starts saying, In quelle trine morbide, nell'alcova dorata, v'è un silenzio gelido mortal, v'è un silenzio freddo che m'aggancia. Dio che me lo avezza a una carezza voluttuosa. And after that first part, where she sees herself, where she's standing, where she is now, and it comes the memory of that poverty, still happiness, when she says, Oh, mia dimora umile, tu mi ritorni innanzi, Gaia isolata bianca come un sogno gentile di pace. In that loneliness, but still happy, white, like in a kind dream of peace. That's how she recalls that beautiful place, those beautiful days that she had with Derieux. But that is long gone. There is also a very bright scene, and sorry again for continuing with the comparisons, but in Massenet's composition, that very French composition, if you allow me the expression, there is the very famous gavotte, La Gavotte by Manon. Da-da, da-da, da-da-da-da-da. That is not the case in Puccini's. Not sure why he decided not to include that scene of the ball, and he's at least not his Italian version of the gavotte is not as the very French of Massenet's. So people do not even recall that scene from the opera. But then something else is going to happen. The brother of Manon, Lescaut himself, will tell Derrieux where she is so that they can meet together again. There comes a very, very long duet. Very long duet. People in music and opera that like to make comparisons and all of that say that this duet by Maestro Puccini, Tu Amore Tu, is a Wagnerian version of Puccini. Of course, you can find reasons to say, yeah, it is very Wagnerian in the style, and you can have reasons to say, my God, this is just Puccini doing his or working on his own style. One way or another, truth is, it's a very long duet, very heavy, very, very heavy one. Light or pure lyrical voices cannot endure the whole duet. Was telling you better for spinto voices, more if it is like Tebaldi's spinto, still beautiful voice. Maybe also more like John Aragal, the tenor Aragal, has such a beautiful voice towards spinto, so this duet is perfect for his voice. And I was telling you earlier that there is a recording of this also by Giuseppe Di Stefano and Maria Callas that if you are familiar with the two of them, you know that they were musically perfect and they understood each other so well. You can barely find another duet in the world of opera that was so accomplished, such as Callas and Di Stefanos. If you have the opportunity of looking for it, please go ahead. And it is the other thing around this duet is that I was telling you it is long, it is complex, it is a genius. The way Maestro Puccini wrote this is so genius, and it requires high notes throughout all of it. Really, really complex duet. So it starts as the two lovers have met have met together, and there is of course this feeling in Manon that I shouldn't have left you. I left you for money. I left you for these jewels. I left you for treasure. I treasoned you somehow. And the griot, of course, at the very beginning, he's touched. Of course, he's sad, understanding that he was left behind only for money. But he still loves Manon, and that's why this duet evolves from that very first scene when she says, "Tu amore tu, mio immenso amore, Dio." And Lescaut replies, Derrieux replies, "Ah, Manon." And Manon continues, "Tu non m'ami dunque più, ma m'ami tanto, oh lunghi baci, vuoi lungo incanto, la dolce amica da un tempo aspetta la tua vendetta. Oh, non guardarmi così, non era la tua pupilla tanto severa." Manon making reference that she is expecting Derrieux to have his vendetta on her for having left him. And no revenge, even though she sees that willing of revenge in the eyes of Chevalier Derrieux. Truth is that no, that is not. He replies con forza, "Si sciagurata la mia vendetta." Manon would reply, "Ah, la mia colpa, è vero." Derrieux would insist, sciagurata la mia vendetta. E Manon again, ah è vero non m'ami più, ah è vero non m'ami dunque più, ma m'amavi tanto. Ah, but it's my fault, it's true. Ah, è vero, it's true. You love me no more, it's true. You love me no more? You used to love me. Piangendo, she starts crying. Non m'ami più, non m'ami più. Non m'ami più. Non m'ami più. Which in return breaks Derrieux, who would reply con amarezza, with bitterness, taci, taci, tu il cor mi frangi, tu il cor mi frangi. Tu non sai le giornate che buie e desolate non son piombate su me. Because, keep silence, taci, taci, keep silence, tu il cor mi frangi, tu il cor mi frangi. You don't know those days, those afternoons that were in loneliness, that loneliness fell over me. And Manon replies, io voglio il tuo perdono. Vedi, son ricca. I want you to forgive me. You see, I'm rich. Derrière replies, taci. Manon insists, questa non ti sembra una festa ed ori e di colori? Tutto è per te. Pensavo a un avvenir di luce, amor qui ti conduce. T'ho tradito, è ver. Ai tuoi piedi suon, t'ho tradito. Sciagurata dimmi, ai tuoi piedi io son. After saying that, you see, but I am rich. Don't you think that this is such a celebration of gold and colors? All of this is for you. We were thinking of a future of light and greatness. Amor qui ti conduce. T'ho tradito, è ver. I mean, I was so loyal to you. But now I am by your feet. I betrayed you. It is true. Sciagurata dimmi, but still I am at your feet. Ah, voglio il tuo perdono. Non lo negar, son forse della Manon d'un giorno meno piacente vela, convincing him. But I want your forgiveness. Voglio il tuo perdono. Please don't deny this forgiveness. Forgive me. Son forse della Manon d'un giorno meno piacente vela? Do you like me less? Don't you think that I am still that beautiful Manon for which you fell in love? If you see, the reasons that Manon is giving to Lescaut are not at this point of true love. She's making reference to richness, to dreams, and to her beauty. Remember that we were saying Manon is anything but a pure heart, such as Mimi of Liu. Manon is of frivolity, a shallow woman. Still was in love, but that doesn't put apart the fact that she is not such pure of heart. And at some point, the Rieu knows it because he will reply, O tentatrice, o tentatrice, e questo l'antico fascino che m'acceca. And he knows this is the old fascino, this is how you attracted me to you. You with your charms, you made me blind. And Manon would reply, E fascino d'amor, ceri son tua. Let me convince you once again. And Derrieux, vanquished, he says, Più non posso lottare, son vinto. You defeated me with your charm. Ceri son tua, avvieni, con le tue braccia, stringi Manon che t'ama, stretta al tuo sen, m'allaccia, Manon te solo brama. With all those words, she's convincing him, più non posso lottar, sol vinto io t'amo. She would insist, Avien, and he would reply, T'amo, Avien. This part, in particular, this part is what most people find more continuous drama in the way of Wagner, because she would say, Ceri son tua, vieni, the two voices, non posso lottare, o tentatrice. She would say, stretta al tuo sen, m'allaccia, Manon te solo brama. And he would say, io non posso lottare, ceri son tua, son vinto, io t'amo. She would say, Avien, io t'amo. She, Avien, the two voices. He would say, io non posso lottare, son vinto, io t'amo. She would say, Manon te solo brama, vieni con le tue braccia, stringi Manon che t'ama. This is why I was telling you this very long duet is also very tiring and very complicated, because for the two voices to go this long singing this loud is difficult. He would still insist, after she said, Manon che t'ama, Manon who loves you, nell'occhio tuo profondo io leggo il mio destin, tutto il tesoro del mondo hai il tuo labbro divin. In your deep eyes I can read my destiny, all the treasures of the world, hai il tuo labbro divin, your divine lips. Nell'occhio tuo profondo io leggo il mio destin, tutti i tesori del mondo al tuo labbro divin. And then she would say, Manon te solo brama, stretta al tuo sen m'allaccia, alle mie brame, e torna ancora. Still convincing him to come back. Alle mie braccia, ai baci lunghi d'amor, vivi tinebra sopra il mio cor. That's what she would say, but he would reply, mar del tuo bacio, dolce tesor, in te m'inebrio ancor, dolce tesor, in te m'inebrio ancor. This livre being, this sensation of being drunk, l'ivresse of love, is what he is replying. I am back. T'inebrio ancor, dolce tesor, in te m'inebrio ancor, nelle tue braccia care, ve l'ebbrezza, l'oblio. That sensation of being ivre, being drunk, that's how he feels now, being back to Manon, who in return has replied, La bocca mia è un altare dove il bacio è Dio. Of course, she's not modest, because she's saying, In my mouth, in my lips, there is an altar where my kisses you can find God. Anything but modesty in the words of Manon. But they are back again. But things are not going to work out as they expect, as Geronte finds out that she will leave him and that she wants to run away with the jewels that he has given her. Says he's leaving the two lovers, but in fact what he does is that he calls the guards, the police, who in return will take Manon prisoner, because as she tries to run away, jewels fall from her, and so she's accused of trying to steal from the old Geronte. It has been decided that Manon will be taken to exile to the US. Those old days, of course, the US was not what the US is now. So she will be taken to Louisiana. You know that the territory of Louisiana is what the French had in this, what then was the New World were the Americas. So Louisiana was one of the colonies, or the colony by the French, and provided that this opera is taking place in France, and they exile this robber. Now Manon Lescaut is a robber, so she's going to spend the rest of her life in this exile in Louisiana. Of course, the Rieu will not let this happen, and as he learns and as he sees that she and other people are being taken to the ship that will end up taking them to the Americas, he wants to go with her. And there is a short scene, another aria that again demands a lot from the tenor. It is usually called son pazzo, because that's how it starts when she says, "Guardate, pazzo son, guardate, come io piango e imploro." Because I was telling you that the Rieu will ask or will look for a way to go with Manon, because even though Manon is just a shallow woman, not a sincere, pure of heart woman, he is still in love with her. So that's why he says, "Come io piango, piango e imploro," how I cry and beg. Look at me, guardate. Come io chiedo pietà, how I am begging you for forgiveness. Forgive her. Udite, m'accettate qual mozzo o a più vile mestiere, ed io verrò felice. M'accettate, guardate, io piango e imploro. Please, even though it is pretty much the same words, look at me, I'm begging you, look at me, how I cry and I'm begging you. Vi pigliate il mio sangue, la vita, take my life, take my blood, vi imploro, vi chiedo pietà, vi chiedo pietà, pietà, t'ingrato non sarò. Still, his words will not be heard. This short scene that I just told you about, the Grieux looking for forgiveness for his lover, it's a very difficult part. I mean, it really takes a strong voice by a tenor, and I would like to go back and insist that this is for spinto voices preferred, so that can get away with the whole opera. Other way, lyric voices will not be able to do it. But the thing around lyric spinto voices is that spinto voices are usually not nice. The nice voices are the lyrical ones, but spinto and dramatic are not usually nice voices. So what happens is that people lose the sense that this is very beautiful music, very beautiful writing, and just keep the drama because that's what these strong spinto voices usually convey. But if you notice in the words of Derieux, he's a very passionate lover. Even if Manon is not a pure woman, Derieux has been sincere in his feelings from the very, very beginning. At the end, he is allowed to go with Manon to Louisiana, where they will spend the rest or what remains of their two lives, which is going to be a very, very short time. And now, in the final act, the beauty of Manon is gone. Poverty, she was poor with the Rieu, but happy. Then she was rich with Géronte, but she was not completely happy. Now, in the exile in Louisiana, she's poor. What she liked the most, the dresses and the jewels, there is no more. They don't even have water to drink. So the Rieu leaves her for a while, trying to look for that water so that the two of them can survive. But Manon is already very sick, in very bad condition. And here takes place the splendid aria Sola perduta abbandonata, that I have to say that the first time I saw it on TV, Channel 22 in Mexico, I recall that, was in the voice of the great dramatic soprano Eva Marton. I really recall this in the voice of hers. And since then, I have loved this Sola perduta abbandonata, where she says, I am alone, I am lost, and I have been abandoned in these lonely, deserted lands. Horror intorno a me, s'oscura il ciel, ahimè, son sola. This aria that one can sing, one can feel when one finds himself also feeling alone, lonely, and abandoned. This aria that can be completely acceptable in the highest notes at the end, instead of singing it with courage, sing it with a broken voice, the broken voice of someone who knows he's alone. Sola perdotta abbandonata, il naso desolata, orror intorno a me, s'oscura il ciel, ahimè, son sola, e nel profondo deserto io cado, strazio crudele, sola abbandonata, io la deserta zona. Voglio morir, non voglio morir. Tutto è dunque finito. accende, strapolano e mi si volea per tutto il mio passato, orribili e risorgi, e vivo in ansia per mio si passa, di sangue se macchiato. Tutto è finito. Assil di pace, ora la tomba invoco. No, non voglio morir, non voglio morir, no, 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 non voglio morir, amore aita. Fra le tue braccia, amore, l'ultima. And the Rieu will return shortly after that aria. We have heard Manon Lescaut, no, non voglio morir, no, no, non voglio morir, amore, Aita, please, my love, help me, I don't wanna die. This aria that could be perfectly understood by any of us who have ever felt lonely. Sola, perduta, abbandonata. So, Manon will die shortly after, of course, the Griot comes back. They have the opportunity of saying goodbye to each other, but Manon dies. She cannot stand the life of exile, so she will die in the arms of the only man who truly loved her. One can ask himself, did she deserve to die? Did she even deserve the love of Derrieux? Most likely, the answer to the second question is no. The pureness, the love Derrieux had for her from the beginning, and even to decide to go with her to the exile, paints us for the first time in the voice of a tenor, strange, composed by Puccini, who liked to give very nasty roles to the tenors. The first time, the one of pure heart is Derrieux. And Manon chose a woman who was too lucky to have found the true love in him. Thank you very much for having joined us today. Please send us an email if you feel like willing to do that. Send us an email to opera@gmail.com. Thank you very much and hope to see you sometime soon.